Two men are now in jail, both charged with killing a Laurel County husband and wife last year. Details on the investigation ahead at 4:30. Kentucky State Police investigating after a deadly officer-involved shooting in western Kentucky. And 3 children recovering at a Louisville hospital after being hit by an SUV while at their school bus stop. We'll have an update on their conditions.
This is WKYT News at 4:30.
Good afternoon. Sam Dick and Amber Philpott reporting. Police say they believe they have in jail the pair who killed a Laurel County couple in their home in March of last year.
Donnie and Sharon Jackson were shot to death and their home was set on fire. Police arrested one man about a year later, and this past weekend, the second was put in jail. WKYT's Phil Pendleton has more on the developments. It's our top story at 4:30.
Both men will be answering to the charges here in Laurel Circuit Court in the Judicial Center on November the 16th. Bradley Lawson was already in jail. He was in jail when he was actually charged with this crime. Christian Roberts was arrested in Manchester on Saturday. He was in the Clay County Detention Center. Now, the two face identical charges. Police say they believe on March 8th of last year, the two men went to Donnie and Sharon Jackson's home on Slate Ridge Road in the Lilly community with the intent to steal from them. Donnie tried to fight back. Police say both he and Sharon were shot and killed. Then the home was set on fire. Now, the case went unsolved for months, and there were a lot of people on edge for quite some time. Police say they can rest easier knowing that the two suspects are in jail.
We're just really glad that we have 2 people arrested, the 2 people that we believe committed the crime. They're now in jail. They will go through the court process, and we'll let the court make their decision on this.
And police say they believe they have the 2 responsible for this crime. They say they do not expect to charge anyone else. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Both men are charged with first-degree robbery, murder, and arson. An officer-involved shooting in Metcalfe County ends with one man dead.
And as WKYT's Andrea Walker tells us, neighbors are still shaken by what happened.
Rachel Holloway was getting ready for bed when she heard her next-door neighbors in a heated argument.
I heard fighting, so I was being nosy and listening in, and then she came over here 2 minutes later, crying, asking to use the phone, so I gave it to her.
Just a few moments later, gunshots rang out, waking Rachel's mother, Bonnie, and her boyfriend.
It was terrifying. He was hollering, "Let's get down on the floor. He's still shooting." Me, I just got up and opened the door, see what the hell's going on.
When police arrived, 38-year-old Kenny Tomlin came out of his house with a rifle. Police warned him to put down the gun, but instead he started shooting. The officers fired back, killing Tomlin. Bullet holes now surround Holloway's bedroom window, just inches away from where she was sleeping.
There's no way to describe it. We could have been dead or alive. At 1 inch, probably that much over, and it would have hit us.
Andrea Walker, WKYT.
And police say thankfully no one else was injured during the incident. We're in the last week of October, and it's finally starting to look like fall.
That it is, but we are tracking some changes in the forecast with some ups and downs. Let's check in now with meteorologist Jim Caldwell. Hi, Jim.
Hello, guys. Yeah, a lot of ups and downs in a very short amount of time that we're likely going to be tracking here over the coming days. We had a front roll through the area today, cool to soft compared to yesterday, at least here in central Kentucky, because yesterday we were in the 70s. Today, you find us in the upper 60s, at least in Lexington. 68 right now. Still holding on to some of that warmth into southern and eastern Kentucky, where they are in the low 70s. But all in all, this is a good-looking weather picture across Kentucky with generally beautiful blue skies. Compare this to the same time yesterday, and here in Lexington we're 4 degrees cooler than we were, so we were in the low 70s. 7 degrees cooler in Danville, 5 degrees cooler in Mount Sterling. You get the general idea. 24 hours ago, this was a completely different place. Felt a little bit warmer across most of central and even parts of eastern Kentucky. Here's what we've got on Defender Radar Network today. It is a quiet one, and I think it'll stay this way at least until we get into maybe late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. That's going to be the next chance of showers that will arrive here in this area. So that's what we're talking about here, the focus of the forecast. It's a front frenzy unfolding this week. 2 more fronts to go. We had one today, we'll get one on Thursday, and then we'll get another into your Saturday, just to keep it very interesting. And each one will bring another cool shot with it, but out ahead of it, we could see 70s again. I'll break it all down coming up for you in just a few minutes.
Jim, thank you. Some new details this afternoon after an SUV slammed into a group of children waiting on the bus stop last week in Louisville.
10-year-old Jaconia Fields, his 9-year-old sister Vanessa, and 8-year-old Philip Neal III were all rushed to the hospital last week. As Lauren Smith tells us, the families of the children say there will be long recoveries.
I was just shocked.
That was Lakeisha Johnson's first reaction when she heard what happened to two of her children. 10-year-old Jaconia Fields and Vanessa Levros, who was 9, were seriously hurt on Thursday when an SUV failed to stop for a school bus and plowed into a group of children.
I'm an emotional mess. It's hard. I'm trying to keep it together.
Jaconia suffered a broken leg. Vanessa has more serious head injuries.
She's pretty feisty. She's in a medically induced coma, but she's fighting through that. She's wiggling and moving, and they're doing everything to kind of keep her stabilized.
But the recovery for the family goes beyond the injuries. Lakeisha Johnson says the children did have medical insurance, but the single mother of 5 is concerned she soon may not have a job since she's been denied an extended leave of absence.
My job is not important over my kids. I'd rather be there for my kids because they need me right now.
Family and friends have set up a GoFundMe page.
None of us are rich, but everybody, every $2, $5 will go a long way.
The driver of the SUV is also recovering from his injuries. He's facing charges of not having insurance or registration. I asked what the family would like to say to him.
There's always room for forgiveness, but right now our family need to focus more on the kids that were hurt. We feel sorry that he was hurt as well, but we have children to think about.
The third child hurt in the accident is 8-year-old Philip Neal III. His family says he suffered a shattered leg, internal injuries, and a concussion.
I want him to know that we're here for him, and if he ever needs to talk about anything, all he has to do is just call me, and I'll be right there.
GoFundMe pages have been set up for both families to help cover the medical expenses. Kentucky State Police continue to investigate one of the largest marijuana raids in the state's history. The marijuana was found earlier this month in a Monroe County cornfield. It took law enforcement 30 hours to clear out close to 6,000 plants. WKYT has learned it was a tip that led KSP's marijuana eradication team to that property. And we talked to the man who leases the property. He says he had no idea it was there.
There were some buds, you know, probably 16, 18 inches long, big around as an ear of corn. A lot of them.
Amber's at the live desk now with our investigative reporter Miranda Combs with more on what she's working on for tonight at 6. Amber?
Sam, thank you. Miranda, this was a big find for police.
It was a big find, and it went unnoticed for obviously quite a long time. And the sheriff, though, said, you know, you could put this up, and this is what it looked like from the sky. It was that noticeable. But if you were on the ground, it was really only about a mile from the city park even, and went unnoticed for that long.
So folks just going right by it, I mean, it wasn't easy to see up close, right?
Right, and we went back there, and you had to go through one cornfield and another cornfield and another, and finally, the only way you could still see it was because you could see the police tracks that had plowed through the corn to get back to it, but it was still hard to see even after the fact.
For police, any arrest yet in this big find?
No, this was found at the beginning of the month, and as far as we know, no arrests, and they aren't giving us any leads on any suspects at this time. And as soon as they spotted it, they went in and took it out and burned it all. It took 30 hours to take care of it. That's how substantial this was, and something they just don't see anymore. So we'll tell you a little bit more about what we found when we went down there coming up at 6.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of different drug situations out here. This is one we just don't talk about a whole lot anymore.
Not anymore, but it's still a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Miranda, thanks so much. Sam?
The United Nations has a new super ambassador. That story ahead on WKYT News at 4:30.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Weekend started off a little on the cool side, but we ended up heating up quite a bit by the time we got into your Sunday, into the low and mid-70s in many cases out there. Today, we're right back down into the 60s in many spots, and as we look ahead here with some of our headlines, it's going to be a trend that is going to continue because we're going to have near normal days, but we're also going to see a little spike in temperatures, and then we're going to see a drop in temperatures, another spike in temperatures, and another drop. It's back and forth here. We got a late week front that gets in here on Thursday, brings us a chance of rain and a lot of gusty winds out ahead of it. And then we'll get another one that will bring more chilly showers to the area as we head into the weekend. We're looking outside right now in Lexington. You can see a little spider web there. It's kind of being carried along there with the wind. And sometimes you can see the spider that made that web. We don't want to see it today, though. 68 degrees right now in Lexington. Winds coming out of the north-northwest at around 9 miles per hour, so still very comfortable day. Low humidity levels as we have been encountering, and you do encounter a lot this time of year. There you see 70 still holding on in southern and eastern portions of Kentucky. Front hasn't completely slipped through there yet, but it will, and it'll shake the temperatures up a little bit, especially into the overnight now. That's going to be more of the focus for their change in temperatures in those locations, because we likely end up somewhere in the mid to upper 30s, depending on your location out there tonight. So certainly a very chilly start tomorrow morning. This is our Defender Radar Network, and it is all quiet across Kentucky for us today, even with the cloud cover. We've got the satellite thrown in there. It's calm. Frontal boundary will be in position well off to our south here soon, and as it does, we'll see a high pressure really push some of those cooler temperatures into play. Then we get into your Wednesday, because tomorrow and most of Wednesday are pretty quiet. Matter of fact, Wednesday is quiet other than the fact that we get some wind in here. Frontal boundary starts pushing in here late Wednesday night going into Thursday morning, and what it's going to do is it's going to enhance our chances to run into some showers across most of Kentucky. So we'll get some gusty showers out ahead of it. Long before any rain ever arrives Wednesday night, I think we'll be pushing wind speeds probably 30, 35 miles per hour, some of the wind gusts with sustained winds 15 to 20. A very windy evening as we go into Wednesday night there. Now, on Thursday and beyond, another front will line up behind it, and that dives in here for the weekend. Let me show you how we get there with the hour-by-hour forecast. Show you the numbers as well. There you see some of those 30s breaking out in many locations. Southern and eastern Kentucky trying to hold on a little bit warmer with some of those 40s, and then we get into Tuesday with this model here. It's trying its best to keep us in the 60s, and by 60s, I mean low 60s. I think we're a little bit warmer than that into central Kentucky, but it has the right mindset, I think, as we go into Wednesday, as we likely end up in the low 70s, even with the cloud cover around. We're getting a strong southwesterly wind at this point. It's driving those temperatures up, works like a blowtorch. I mean, just really pushes the thermometers up in many areas, and then the rain shows up here as we get into the early morning on Thursday. Notice temperatures are in the 50s at this point. They don't recover a whole lot into the afternoon and evening. I think it was 58, 59 when the rain was at its peak around here. We end up only around 63 degrees here in Lexington. So that's kind of the way it unfolds here with that front. As you plan ahead here with our 7-day forecast, we got a few shower storms Thursday. We're kind of cool on Friday, down into the low 60s. Out ahead of another front, we'll spike into the low 70s, and then by the end of the weekend, we're back in the low 60s. So hold on for a fun fall ride, my friends.
I like your tie, orange for pumpkins. Halloween's not far away.
That's what I was thinking about when I put it on.
Were you really?
No, of course not. Of course not. I was like, I want to wear this.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
Some serious pumpkin carving is underway in preparation for Pumpkin Mania. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about at Transy today.
Transylvania University getting ready to celebrate a very popular Halloween tradition right here in Lexington.
The 6th annual Pumpkin Mania is tomorrow night, but today you can carve pumpkins on campus. Our Deanne Stevens is out and about with all the details. Hi, Deanne.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. We are here on the campus, Transy University, where Tora and I, we're hard at work, aren't we? This is impressive because Tora, she didn't even use one of those stencil things. Is this just straight from you?
Just freehand.
Girl, you should rethink your career, maybe.
Well, we'll see about that.
This is the time of year for Pumpkin Mania here at Transy. You can see faculty and students all gathered together. You guys look like you're having a fun time. Oh, yeah. This is a good day of work, I would think. Tracy Dunn is with us, and Tracy, 6 years now. You guys have done this year after year, and I know it's a tradition for my mom to bring my girls, and a lot of other families just make this a part of their Halloween.
It does. We have hundreds of families that come out and join us for our pumpkin lighting and trick-or-treat on Tuesday night this year. So tomorrow night, bring your kids, bring your family, bring your friends from 6 to 7 for trick-or-treating, and then at 7 o'clock we'll light our pumpkins.
This is a free event, and you said there's a ton of different stations set up. Talk a bit about that and how it works.
Yes, there will be 50 trick-or-treat stations and face painting. That'll be around the Circle of Old Morrison, and just come in costume, please. Our students are excited to have you here. We have the Lexington Legends will also be here, and other community sponsors will be here, so it'll be a great time.
It is always a great time. Trick or treat tomorrow night here at Transy. This is a safe place too, is what I love, to bring the kids and all the other students who take part in this. Ashley is the chair of this event. This is going to be a fun event to put together, I'd say.
It is definitely a lot of fun. I could be working, doing a lot of different things, but I've been deep in pumpkins for about 2 days. We have 450 pumpkins from Overman's Farm, so these are Kentucky Proud pumpkins. It's extremely exciting. You'd be surprised the people that would come and try to get your pumpkin seeds. We had
your pumpkin seeds
people
or
seeds?
Seeds,
stopping
okay.
all day yesterday to see if they could get the seeds so they could cook them. So that was interesting.
Well, pumpkin seeds are really good for you.
They are good, and people were saying you can have ranch pumpkin seeds, you can have brown sugar cinnamon pumpkin seeds. Apparently they're Pinteresting these pumpkin seeds right up.
All the pumpkin seeds will be gone, right?
Whatever we don't use and what people don't pick up, our community garden that our students are involved with, we'll be using those in the compost pile. So all the parts of the pumpkins will be up to good use. So.
Big invitation for you to come out and be a part of Pumpkin Mania. Bring the kiddos out, do a little trick-or-treating 6 to 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and then at 7, the pumpkins are lit and will stay lit through Halloween. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about at Transy. Back to you guys.
I think I'll pay one of those college kids to do mine. Mine would just be drawn in if it were me doing it.
That's a great idea. Also, if you want to just drive by Transy after tomorrow and just take a look at that with the family, it's a sight to see.
Yeah, it's worth doing. BET hosting a concert to honor President Obama, and Matt LeBlanc joins the CBS lineup.
Suzanne Marquez has your eye on entertainment.
Friends star Matt LeBlanc joined CBS tonight with his new comedy, Man with a Plan. The Golden Globe Award winner plays a dad who starts spending more time with his kids when his wife goes back to work, only to discover his little angels are not so angelic.
From now on, you're going to hang your backpacks up, and you're going to clean up the truck before you get out and close the door. That's right.
Man with a Plan airs Monday nights. Usher, Common, and Jill Scott sang for President Obama over the weekend. The White House concert was in partnership with BET Networks and featured more than a dozen performers to celebrate the president's 8 years in office. BET will broadcast the entire night of music November 15th. And Wonder Woman is the new United Nations honorary ambassador for the empowerment of women and girls. TV's Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, and Gal Gadot, who's starring in the new Wonder Woman film, were at the UN to push for worldwide gender equality.
She stands for love and equality and justice and truth and peace.
Wonder Woman opens in theaters next summer. And that's your Eye on Entertainment. Suzanne Marquez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The Cubs are not the only team, of course, in the World Series, but they are the only team getting the support of a major league fan. Find out who he is, who's throwing their weight behind the Cubs, coming up.
Could it finally be that fall is hanging out with us for a little bit?
Can you imagine that? What's going on here, Jim? That's not the way it usually works in Kentucky. Fall's so fast, it just comes and goes.
I know, you're right. It usually it's here for a day or two, and then all of a sudden we're deep into winter. And this time around, we're actually going to keep temperatures, at least this week, very close to average. Now, we'll go above, but we'll get right back to reality rather quickly as well. Out there, at the moment, it's 67 degrees in Lexington. We're at 66 degrees in Mount Sterling. So we have plenty of warmth showing up around here, around average for this time of year, too. Keep that in mind. All thanks to a frontal boundary that made its way across Kentucky. Here's what our Defender Radar Network is picking up on, and that would be a whole lot of nothing. A nice, clear, calm Monday out there, thankfully for most folks across Kentucky. But over the next few days, guys, it's all about fronts. We have a couple more that are going to come into play, bring gusty winds, showers, and of course, some cooler temperatures. 2 more this week. Whew, it's going to be wide open. We'll track all of that for you coming up in the next hour. But let's get you up to date on the traffic situation out there. Here's Officer Don.
Well, the collision on the inner loop of the Circle just past Tate's Creek's been cleared, so both lanes are open there. And overall, we can see some construction to deal with, but no major issues right now, even through the Todd's Road widening project. Drive times, for now, to Frankfort, 26 minutes, to Winchester, holding 26, and about 25 across the Clays Ferry Bridge to Richmond. Now back to you in the studio.
Officer Don, thank you. A yoga pants parade, one major fan, and an emu crossing the road. It's the video that will have you talking. Take a look at this.
One man in Rhode Island has a problem with pants, yoga pants specifically. And his letter to the editor over the issue is causing some controversy. It also led to a yoga pants parade in front of the man's house. In the letter, the man shamed women over the age of 20 for wearing yoga pants. Organizers say the movement just isn't just about yoga pants, but about wearing what you want and being happy. Hundreds of people, both women and men, marched in the parade, and at the end, they put their pants to good use with a session of yoga.
The Chicago Cubs are feeling the love, even from the White House. First fan Barack Obama is a die-hard White Sox supporter, but he is happy about the Cubs. He tweeted, "Holy cow," adding even this White Sox fan was happy to see Wrigley Field rockin' after the Cubs won the National League pennant. The Cubs have not won a World Series in 71 years. Game 1 of the series is tomorrow night as the Cleveland Indians host the Cubs.
Why did the emu cross the road? No one knows, but there is video of it. See this? This emu was spotted strolling along Interstate 10 in Phoenix. An Arizona state trooper found it in the median. Apparently, the animal was curious about the officer, too. It popped its head in the cruiser's window. An Arizona agriculture officer was able to lasso the animal and safely get it into a trailer.
He's just taking a leisurely stroll.
Yeah, it's very peaceful. You wouldn't see that in Kentucky, would you?
Probably not, and if we did, that would be a big news story, right?
It would, it would.
Stick with us. Here's what we're working on for you now at 5 o'clock.